The 2024 Olympic Games are only a couple months away. As of right now, 8 of the 12 men's basketball teams already have their tickets punched. The host nation of France, Africa's South Sudan, Asia's Japan, Oceania's Australia, America's United States and Canada, and Europe's Germany and Serbia. The final 4 spots are reserved for the winners of this upcoming week's last chance qualifying tournaments. Today, I wanted to break down each of these 4 tournaments and the 24 teams vying for an Olympic berth and give you my predictions for how things will play out. Before we dive in, please do me a big favor and like the video, as it helps me out way more than I think you guys realize. Now, let us get started. First, I wanted to break down how these games go for those of you who do not understand. Beginning July 2nd, there will be 4 tournaments held around the world. Each one is made up of 6 teams broken into 2 groups of 3. Every team is guaranteed 2 matches. If you finish in the top 2 in your group, you move on to the simple 4-team bracket. The victor of this bracket makes it to the Olympics. So basically, you need between 3 and 4 wins, and there is only wiggle room to lose a single match between your first 2. This is as high stakes as it gets. Very short, very meaningful basketball. I love it. The first tournament is held in Greece. Not only do they have a major home court advantage, but the Greek national team is incredibly strong. Giannis Antetokounmpo is obviously the headlining name, as he is easily their most successful professional player, finishing 4th in MVP voting in the NBA this past year. But he has yet to add an Olympic appearance to his resume. You know he will be hungry for it, especially when you realize he has not made it out of the first round of the NBA playoffs for 2 consecutive years. Beside Giannis is a roster of experienced EuroLeague veterans. Point guard Nick Kalathis, forward Kostas Papanikolaou, and big man Yorgos Papagiannis lead that crew. But they will have to go through 2 teams first. The Dominican Republic will not be at full strength, unfortunately. Both Karl Anthony Towns and Al Horford have opted to remain in the United States to rest and train for another NBA season. But that doesn't mean they will be a fish in a barrel. The trio of guards in Chris Duarte, Jean Montero, and Andres Feliz are all more than capable scorers and playmakers who can get hot and make the lives of their opponents miserable. The Dominicans will have their work cut out for them, but they can shoot with the best of them. Egypt is easily the biggest underdog of the group, featuring no NBA or even near NBA talent after Abdel Nader dropped out of the roster contention quietly only a few days before the games were set to be played. A couple names they will be turning to are the big man Patrick Gardner, who briefly played in the G League a couple of years ago, and point guard Ihab Amin, who has a career spanning nearly a decade leading their national team. On the other side, we have a clear top dog in Slovenia. Luka Doncic is one of only 3 players on the planet who finished higher in MVP voting than Giannis. He just led the Mavericks to the NBA Finals, putting on an absolute show along the way. Nobody has control over the game quite like him, but he has been growing more and more hot-headed with time, and this has cost Slovenia in the past. Slovenia is going to need the veterans to not only contribute on the court, but also be leaders and mentors off of it. Zoran Dragic, Vlatko Kančar, Mike Tobey, Aleksej Nikolic are some players that you need to pay attention to. Croatia, meanwhile, is hungry for international credit. After some disappointing results during the incredibly stupid FIBA qualifier match seasons, they are finally in a position to make their presence felt globally again. And they have arguably the most stacked roster going into the Athens tournament. Mario Hezonja has had a chip on his shoulder ever since being left off an NBA roster 4 years ago. He has been quietly working on his game, putting up impressive performances in the EuroLeague and internationally ever since. He just dropped 39 on Brazil in a tune-up game just a few days ago. You know he is itching for the opportunity to duke it out with Luka, but he is not alone. Croatia's terrific supporting cast includes big men Dario Saric and Ivica Zubac, plus their naturalized point guard Jalen Smith. The underdog on this side easily is New Zealand, a small nation off the coast of Australia. The Kiwis are without any NBA talent as Steven Adams continues to hold a grudge against the national team. Their best players are their guard combo of Corey Webster and Shea Ely, but I don't think they have a very high ceiling, unfortunately. For this tournament, I predict that Greece, the Dominican Republic, Croatia, and Slovenia will advance to the knockout stage. Then from here, I believe that we will see the Croatian national team pull off the upset and make their first Olympic appearance since 2016. Moving on to the qualifying tournament hosted by Latvia. First and foremost, unfortunately, despite finishing the finals run with the Boston Celtics, Kristaps Porzingis will be having leg surgery this summer and not be participating in these games. A devastating blow, but we did see this Latvia team almost do the unthinkable at the World Cup last year. Their roster of guys you probably don't recognize pulled off some amazing upsets thanks to their passing and shooting being top-notch. Arturs Zagar, Davis Bertans, Darius Bertans, and Richard Lomaz are the names you need to watch out for. They will be going up against Georgia. Led by NBA big man Goga Bitadze, the national team is much better than the names on their backs may lead you to believe. Georgia plays physical and relentless basketball, and it all starts with Tornik Shengelia, a EuroLeague point guard legend who has been one of the best to do it for a very long time. Georgia will be a very tough out for anyone. And rounding out this group, we have the underdogs, the Philippines. Unfortunately, due to FIBA scheduling shenanigans, Jordan Clarkson will not be participating with his national team. Instead, it looks like Kai Soto will be taking over the reins as the face of their squad. The big man has yet to dominate the international stage, but maybe he can leave his mark in Latvia. On the other side, we have a competitive Montenegro team led by NBA veteran Nikola Vucevic. I'm not sure there exists a big man other than Bitadze who can even come close to stopping him on the post in this tournament. He is a professional bucket getter. Even beyond him, you have high quality talent in Marko Simonovic and their naturalized player Kendrick Perry. Plus, the up-and-coming 20-year-old Luka Bagavac is a name basketball fans need to remember. Brazil is the only representative from South America at these tournaments. Their national team remains full of high-quality, near NBA, good EuroLeague talent. Marcelo Huertas and Raul Neto lead the team with NBA-caliber point guard skills, plus they have guys like Bruno Caboclo, Cristiano Felicio, and Leonardo Mindel, who headline their forwards and bigs. This team has a lot of potential to ruin someone else's summer. But the underdog over here, who shouldn't be so weak but unfortunately is Cameroon. Neither Joel Embiid nor Pascal Siakam wanted to commit a second to their national team. Fabien Ateba will be their captain. He is their veteran leader, and he will hope to produce a ton to hopefully pull off a legendary upset. For the Latvia tournament, I have Georgia, Latvia, Montenegro, and Brazil making it out of the knockout stage, where ultimately Montenegro will claim the Olympic berth. This would be the first time in their history since separating from Serbia back in 2004 that they make the Olympics. The third tournament will also be held on the continent of Europe as Spain looks to solidify their 7th straight Olympic appearance. There are a lot of quality names throughout the Spanish roster. You have Willy and Juancho Hernan Gomez, Rudy Fernandez, Lorenzo Brown, Santi Aldama, Sergio Llull, Usman Garuba, and Alexia Brines. Those are just the guys with NBA experience. Now, you probably noticed there isn't necessarily any high-end names like they have had historically, but an experienced roster with plenty of games logged with one another is a valuable thing to have in such a short, high-stakes tournament. In their group, they will have to go through Lebanon, who may be the current-day top dog of the Middle East. Unfortunately, though, their best player, point guard Wael Arakji, will not be participating in these matches, which is beyond devastating to their chances of pulling off an upset. Instead, they will be relying very heavily on naturalized NBA experienced big man Omari Spellman. Angola is the other team in this group, but they unfortunately have not played any matches in preparation for these games. Their roster is also pretty much unknown, but we can assume Bruno Fernando will play, and we know he is a force to be reckoned with on the FIBA stage, as he's a very, very physical athlete at the center position. On the other side, we have a very decked out Bahamas team featuring several NBA players in Buddy Hield, Eric Gordon, and DeAndre Ayton. Despite popular rumors, Klay Thompson is actually not participating, neither is Kai Jones. Now, despite these three big names, there is not really any high quality talent on the roster outside of them. Most of their team plays in second or third tier divisions in Europe. If their big name guys can make their shots, they can beat just about anyone, but I worry about their defense really. Poland may be the favorite over here, as they have a whole plethora of quality pro and NCAA talent. Jeremy Sohan is the name everyone knows, the modern day Dennis Rodman type player, minus all the antics, but guys like Michael Sokolowski, Matthias Ponitka, and Igor Milicic Jr. are going to be forces to be reckoned with, especially on the offensive end. And the final team in this group who is playing a very significant man down is Finland. Without Lauri Markkanen, the Finnish national team does not have a very good track record. Olivier Camois is definitely a player to watch though. He was a very good 5-year senior in college this past year, but he went undrafted. You know he is looking to perform well, push the Finnish national team somewhere no one thought they would get, and hopefully earn an NBA Summer League roster spot and then maybe make a professional career in America. Also, Michael Jantunen is only 24 and himself looking to have a very big week as well. Both big men are going to need to generate a lot of points though to give them a chance. In the Spanish tournament, I believe Spain, Angola, Poland, and Finland will make it out of the group stage. And taking the top spot, claiming the Olympic berth, will be Poland, upsetting the home Spanish team. Poland will be participating in their first Olympic Games since 1980. That means nobody on their team was even alive last time they made it. The final last chance qualifying tournament will be hosted in Puerto Rico. A feisty team that always punches above their weight class, Puerto Rico is super fun to watch. The sub-6-foot guard combination of Jose Alvarado and Tremont Waters will lead their team. Both players are hounds on the defensive end around the perimeter and make their living creating opportunities for others in shooting. They have their work cut out for them though. A very good Italian team is lined up with them, headlined by NBA experienced Danilo Gallinari, Nicolo Melli, and Nico Mannion, as well as a plethora of Euro talent at all 5 positions. Italy has size that Puerto Rico does not have, they have skill, and they have a lot of experience in international play. The only thing they are missing is Simone Fontecchio, who is opting to focus on the upcoming NBA season, unfortunately. The underdog of this group is a very, very surprising addition to this tournament, as Bahrain was able to take advantage of a very weak Asian group missing all of South Korea, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. Unfortunately, their naturalized player who helped them achieve getting here, Wayne Chisholm, will not be participating this week. As a result, there is nobody on this team with any professional or NCAA experience. They're going to get shellacked in this tournament. On the other side, we have a spectacular Lithuanian team headlined by NBA star and actual MVP vote-getting Domantas Sabonis, who is going to be a man amongst children in these games. Alongside him are plenty of high-end EuroLeague talent in the form of Donatas Motiejunas, Mindaugas Kuzminskis, Edgaras Ulanovas, and Rokas Jokubaitis. This team had a slightly different roster last summer when they defeated the United States team at the World Cup, and this year they added Domantas Sabonis. Going to battle with them will be Mexico. They lack a definitive roster anywhere and have very little records of their tune-up matches online, and they only played Argentina, who is not even participating in these games. Historically, the Mexican national team lacks high-end talent, and skimming through their expanded roster, I don't see anyone jumping out at me. And the final team in the final group of the final tournament to talk about is Côte d'Ivoire, aka the Ivory Coast. There exists potential on this national team. Their true roster is not listed anywhere, and they only played a single prep game against Belgium, who is also not participating in these tournaments, which they got blown out in. Like a lot of African teams, there are some NBA players who may participate who can take this team's ceiling and make it just absolutely skyrocket, but usually they just don't want to. Mo Bamba is the biggest name player who might play. I believe Italy, Puerto Rico, Lithuania, and Mexico will progress to the knockout bracket, where ultimately the Lithuanians will claim victory, their first Olympic berth since 2016. So as a refresher, I believe the 4 squads making it out of the last chance qualification tournaments will be Croatia, Montenegro, Poland, and Lithuania. Please let me know who you believe will be claiming victory over the next week of enthralling international basketball. I am looking forward to seeing it all play out, and I am eager to see what upsets may lie. Thank you guys for watching my video. I will see you all next time.